Steelers here at Paycor Stadium and now move to 0-1 in probably one of the craziest games ever played at this stadium. From the beginning, the Bengals offense was not sharp. Joe Burrow threw 4 interceptions, the most in his career as a Bengal, and also had a fumble. So 5 turnovers from Cincinnati's starting quarterback. When asked after the game how he's breaking down those 4 interceptions, Burrow said, "I have to see the film before I can give you guys any analysis," but you could tell he was obviously ticked off. But despite his 4 interceptions and the turnover, he was still able to lead the Bengals back to a comeback effort. The Bengals were able to get going in the second half, and they were able to tie the game in the final seconds with, of course, a Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase touchdown play to send the game to overtime. That's when things got crazy here, because one of the biggest storylines that took place in today's game was the fact that the Bengals lost their starting long snapper, Clark Harris, early on in the game. And to most, it wouldn't seem like that big of a deal. Well, it is when it comes to a special teams operation that's as smooth as the Bengals like to be, with Kevin Huber as a veteran, Evan McPherson being one of the best kickers in the game, and Clark Harris, one of the longest tenured long snappers in the NFL. Harris suffered an injury early on, while the backup to Harris is tight end Mitchell Wilcox. Mitchell Wilcox took over the snapping duties, and Wilcox hadn't snapped a football in a game since he played in the East-West Shrine game back in 2019, a long time. But Zach Taylor said he does practice as the backup long snapper, but the operation wasn't smooth. The Bengals had an opportunity to win the game at the end of regulation, but Evan McPherson's extra point was blocked. Then in overtime, the Bengals attempt a field goal. The snap went too high, and overall it just wasn't the operation that special teams coordinator Darren Simmons hoped for. Defensively, it's probably the biggest positive for this Bengals team. They were great against the run, as they were last year. They continued on. The Bengals defense certainly played well enough for the Bengals to win. This game was on the offense. And another major takeaway from today's game, 6 sacks allowed on Joe Burrow. The biggest storyline about this team heading into the season was, did the Bengals fix their offensive line? Although it's just a 1-game sample size, they still have a lot of work to do. It was a tough outing for rookie Cordell Volson and Jonah Williams going up against that vaunted Pittsburgh front. But they'll have a lot on tape, as La'el Collins said. There's a lot to learn from today's game, and that's exactly what the Bengals will have to do, and they'll have to do it quick as they get ready for their next game, which is a road trip and a tough game against the Dallas Cowboys next week. For more analysis, breakdowns, photos, and everything you want to know about today's game, be sure to check out Cincinnati.com.